In this video, I'm going to show you how to edit drop-down lists inside of Smartsheet. Now, I'm using the Getting Things Done Tracker template inside of Smartsheet found in the Solution Center. So if you want to go open that up real quick, you can follow along. But basically, it's a pretty simple grid sheet that we have here. We have our different columns. We have our type column, which are our drop-down lists. We have our done column, which are checkboxes. We have our task subject, which is our text column. We have due date, which is our date column. We have notes, which is our another text column. And then we have project, which is a text column also. So these are the different columns that make up the sheet. And the first one here, it says type. Now I'm actually going to click and drag these columns over just so we have a little more space and we can see what's going on here. And we have a type column. Now this is just the column name, and if you go down into any of these cells and you click on them, you will see that there's a little arrow, and when we click on that arrow, it brings down a drop-down list. So here we can choose from calls, office, or home. So if we select office, it'll put it there, or if we go to home, it'll select that. And we can only choose one at a time because that's the way this column is set up. But every single one of these is a drop-down list. But what happens, or what if you wanted to make any changes to this actual drop-down list options? Well, you would go up to the column, and if you click on these three dots here, you'll find the column menu. Then you can go down and select Edit Column Properties. Here we can give it a new name, we can change the column type, and we have some additional options that you can select here. So let's say that we wanted to change this to phone or contact or something else. You could type that in. Column type we want to leave as a drop-down list, but if you wanted to change the column type to a date column or a contact list or anything else, you could do that here. Allow multiple values per cell. We don't want that on. Basically, that means that we could select multiple options here. Now, we only want one because it's just either the call, the office, or the home phone, but you could have it select multiple values if you wanted to. Restrict to list values means if this is turned on, they will not be able to go and edit any changes that they want inside of the column. I'll show you that here in a minute. And then values. What are the values we want? So let's say that we wanted to add in mobile. And we hit OK. Now, if you go to one of these cells and you click on them, you can see mobile has been added. So we have the option to go and make those edits. Now, one thing that you can do is you can double click on one of these cells and we can make a change and hit enter and it will save that. Well, maybe you don't want people to make changes on their own and you want to restrict them from being able to do that. You would go up to the column menu again, go down to column properties, and then we want to turn on restrict to list values only. So if we select that and hit OK, they will not be able to make changes, and you'll see an error pops up here. One cell on the phone column has a value that isn't a drop-down value. The column restriction saying will apply to future changes. We'll hit OK, and we'll go ahead and change that back. And now if someone tries to change this or make an edit, they will get an error. I'm getting a sheet administrator error on my end, and I can allow this if I want to, but they would get an error saying that they cannot make changes. So we'll hit cancel. And that is the basics of how you make any edits to drop-down lists inside of Smartsheet.